Welcome to MegaBucks Radio. Conversations with successful entrepreneurs, sharing their tips and strategies for success. Real-world ideas that can put MegaBucks in your bank account. Here's your host, Nina Hershberger.
Hello, this is Nina Hershberger, and welcome to today's show. How many of you have wished you could write your own book? If you own your own business, how many of you have realized that having your own business book, a book to use in your business to actually be like a 24-hour salesman, might actually be a game changer? Well, on today's show, I am honored to have Becky Auer. Becky and I have been friends for years. She originally was a client of mine, and we ultimately became friends, and we've partnered in other things. But Becky is a 3-time multi-million-dollar business owner. She's ranked number 20 in the top 200 small business coaches in the world. The thing that I say about Becky is it's consistency over time. She's taught over 377 workshops, seminars, boot camps. She's written 4 books, 2 of which went to bestseller. And now she is actually part owner in a knee clinic down in the Tampa, Florida area. So that's what we're going to talk about on today's show. Welcome, Becky, to the show.
Woohoo! You know I love being a guest on a show of yours, Nina.
You sure do. So let's get right into it. Let's talk about what is the book that you and I partnered with and that you're using now in the knee clinic.
Yes. So it is the cutest little book. I love it because when we give it out to patients, the magic words, I'm giving it to them early, Nina, is this only takes 20 minutes to read. So it is a small book. And, the name of our book is What You Need to Know About Knee Pain. Ask Dr. Lon Lin, who's our medical director. And you're right. You and I have partnered on not just this one, but many a book. But this one has been super successful and super, I can accredit it to, getting many new patients, because when we see patients in our clinic, we, after the consult, we give them the book to take home, and they give it to their son or daughter who might ask questions, or to their spouse who couldn't attend. And then we give them an extra book to take with them, because a lot of the people in our age range of 65 plus have neighbors who are in the age range of 65 plus and have knees that are hurting. And so we ask them to please, to give the second book out to somebody who may need it. So it's just worked like a charm.
So let's back off. So let's imagine that you own any kind of business. In this case, it's a medical practice. What happens? So you do whatever it is you do, whether it's, I know you guys have done some Facebook ads, but whatever it is to get people into your business and do a consult. Generally, the consult is free, which is in your case. So every single time somebody comes in, you say the same thing over and over and over. Maybe
right.
A little different twist, but it's pretty much what it is. And then that person, they decide yes or no, or if they, want to think about it, or even if they do say yes, are going to go ahead with the knee treatment, they leave and they don't remember what it was you say. Probably, by the time a week goes by, could practically not say. So the beauty about this book, it's almost like just a conversation with you, with, anybody in your office, whatever, telling about the questions that they would have about the actual knee procedure.
That's right. The most frequently asked questions that you're exactly right, that we got over and over and over again.
And it only takes about 20 minutes. So, okay. So I know, Becky, I was trying to think before we got on today's show, how many of these you've ordered. I've got to guess it's almost at least about 500.
It is. It's like every time I turn around, we do a tiny update in the book because somebody's asked a question that we hadn't answered. So we'll slip that in, or we'll change something that, that needed to just be reworded a little bit different. But really, 99%'s done, and we hit the reorder button. I think you're right. I think we're on the 5th reorder, and I order usually 100 or 200 at a time. So we're in the range of anywhere between 500 and 700 books that are like little army people that are out there marching around, telling our story 24/7, because our job at this point is to give out as many books as possible.
Yeah, see, that's a real key to this whole thing. The book is written like one question and one answer, but it's kind of a soft sell. So somebody has knee pain. The biggest thing they could be facing is a knee replacement. And we both know that, some people have really good success with knee replacements, but there's a lot of people that don't have good success. And it's a very difficult surgery. I mean, a lot of PT afterwards. So they're all looking for anything that could help them, any kind of alternative. And that's what you guys specialize in. So, do you know of any other clinic or anybody else that has any kind of book like this?
No, there's absolutely not. In fact, we hear that so much from our patients, like, really? You're giving us, like, someone actually wrote the book on it? And, they always think that's hilarious. And I'm like, yes, we actually did write the book on it. I always say the beauty of this is you're going to get home, you're going to have questions, you're going to have, not remembered everything that we went over in the consult. And this just answers those questions for you. And it also answers those questions for your kids or your spouse or anybody else who might be interested. And what you so brilliantly told me to do was to put QR codes in the book. And so if they wanted to go and see the procedure, they can just scan the QR code and it takes them to the procedure and what that looks like. And we have 3 of them in the book. And like one is a whole webinar that they could attend. One is, about one of the procedures that we do here that they might have a question on. And the other one is just kind of like an overview and explanation. It's about 5 minutes long on, why their knee might hurt and, what we're going to do to help that. So it's not just really a book. It's really, if they go through it and use it, and so many people have come back and said, hey, we watched we did the QR codes, we watched every video that's in there. And, the one's long, like it's really too long. It's like an hour long. And they say, it was so helpful just to be able to kind of like recap and watch it again and to, hear it again, because look, it's their knee. And so many times people, they don't want to get total knee replacement. They're looking for anything to help them. And so when they come here and they hear like, we help 93 out of 100 people get relief from their knee pain, they want to move forward. And then, they get home and they start to think, well, is this for me? I forgot to ask this, and they can just go in the book, reference it. If they have any questions, they can call, but most times they just read the book or watch what's in it and they get their questions answered and, show up for their history and physical exam to start things off. It's brilliant.
Well, it's got to save you guys time.
So much time. I can't tell you before we didn't have it, right? People were showing up and then they'd call with questions and then they'd call back with other questions. And so, no, there's nobody else that I know of anyway out there using them, certainly not in our local area. The closest thing is, like a 2-page pamphlet that has maybe a couple questions on, but most people leave there and are when I tell you they're impressed, they're impressed. So no, it's been such a great tool for our marketing. I would never go without it.
So what do you think? You talked about a pamphlet. That could be the other thing, like a brochure. That would be a very typical thing that any business would give, would be a brochure. How is it different from a brochure? Why do you think it's more impactful?
Well, I think, excuse me, books are impactful anyway, right? The problem with most books is they're 300 pages long, and most people don't have the time and want to spend the effort or energy to read it unless you're super, super interested. I've taught my gals in the office that do the consults, you have to tell them this only takes 20 minutes to read. Those are the magic words, because when somebody hears that and they're like, oh, really? We're like, yeah, there's no fluff. It's all just answering the questions that you've already asked or want to know about that maybe you forgot to ask. And you can hand it off to a family member when they ask specific questions, and it's all covered in the book. So I think the book versus, a trifold pamphlet, number one, is more impressive. Number two, we get a lot more landscape, right? We get a lot more space to tell our story and the story of the procedures and things like that. And look, when you leave here, when they leave here, they're carrying that book, and they're carrying a book to give out to their neighbors. And we get a lot of referrals that way just by them handing it off. They call up, they go, hey, my next door neighbor X referred me and gave me one of your books. And, I'm interested to see if I'm a good candidate for what you do. And it's like, hallelujah, because we know that consult's going to be shorter, right, than our regular consult time. So it cuts off at least 15 to 20 minutes in the consult, which means we can have more people come in for consults. And they're virtually pre-sold when they come in here because they've already read about the procedure. They know what they've tried in the past. They know what they did wrong in the past because they're reading about it in the book. For example, getting cortisone shots that dry up their synovial fluid instead of lubricating that area, right? So they already kind of know that wasn't good and they shouldn't do that again. So they're virtually pre-sold before they even walk into the office.
Do you think the book helps? So if you've got competition, everybody's got competition. Do you think having the book and they're looking at a couple different options might really sway them to use your clinic versus somebody else's?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When I tell you, it makes a big impression because, other places they've been, right? So that here's what happens. They go in, they, talk to somebody for a few minutes. They send them back for an x-ray. They get told, oh, you're bone on bone, which 9 times out of 10, they're not. And they want to hurry up and schedule them in for surgery. And it's like, oh, whoa, hold on. I don't want surgery. Like, I'm not here for that. I'm here for alternatives because either they've had one knee done and don't want to repeat that, or they are looking for alternatives because maybe they've had a hip replaced and they didn't, they don't want to go through that again. That happened to one of our patients. I'm like, well, what's brought you in today? He goes, I had both hips replaced. And I know the recovery on that because I've been through it. And I know the recovery based on everybody I've talked to is longer with knee replacement. And I don't want to do that to myself. I don't have 6 months to have my feet and knees up to take all that downtime. He said, I'm still active and I want to remain active for as long as possible.
So let's go back to the QR code you talked about. Years ago, not several years, now I'm thinking maybe 8 or 10 years ago, QR codes came out and they were kind of a sexy kind of thing to do. And then they kind of went away. They are really making a resurgence. And I think part of it is because of our smartphones. All they have to do is open up their smartphone for a phone and the camera, and they just put it in front of the book, and it instantly will bring up the website where that is. So it really makes it a multimedia kind of a book, not just even read, because some people like to listen, some people like to watch, and some people like to read, even though it's only 20 minutes. So you're finding that a lot of the people are watching those videos as well.
They're watching them and they're telling us that they're watching them, which, like, we don't prompt that. You know what I mean? They just come in and they say, hey, this book has been unbelievable. We got home. We did have questions. We started to go through it and we found the QR codes. And that's exactly right. With the camera, they take the picture, take them right to the website, and it explains whatever we need explained. So, yes, in our short book, I think it's only 48 pages maybe, way they take them right to the QR code video page. Because like my dad would never read the book, but he'd watch a video. And that's how, because it's for them to read, right? Even though we have the font a little bit bigger because they're all over 65, some people just don't like to read, but they'll watch a video, they'll watch a video for a whole hour, which these people are doing. So yeah, no, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted you on the show, because it really is a game changer. It doesn't matter if you're in a medical practice or if you're a auto repair guy or a dent repair guy. Any kind of business can actually use this kind of book. So, Becky, thanks. I'm looking at the clock. I know you've got to get back to those patients. You took the time away. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they want to, I know you have a mastermind where you talk about a lot of things. How could they get a hold of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to talk to any of your listeners. So my mastermind's been running since 2006. It's a paid mastermind, and I've just had fabulous people through my program. But if they want to reach out or get more information about that, they can reach out to me at Becky Auer. It's AUER. So Becky at BeckyAuer.com, or they can go to the BeckyAuer.com website. But email is usually the best, and I'll get back to you ASAP about that and send you more information if anybody's interested. I only take 8 people because we run it only from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and it's 8 people, and we just get to, downright and dirty work on their business and get good results with it. And some of the people in that group have been with me 7 and 8 years now, so it's pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, and that's because they get results. It's all about results. When we put together this, the idea and the concept for this book, we don't do it just to do something. We do it because of the results that we get. So, well, Becky, get back to your business. I appreciate you being on the program today, and we'll talk later. And if anybody that's listening would like to know more about getting your Ask the Expert kind of book, you can reach out to me at NINA@megabucksmarketing.com. Until next time, go and make it a great day.
Thank you for listening to MegaBucks Radio with Nina Hershberger. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or to listen to past episodes, visit megabucksradio.com.